Hi YouTube world, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. I am Adrienne, I live in New York City, and I love playing with makeup. This is my Shop My Stash series, where at the beginning of the week, I dug through all my junk and I pulled out stuff that I wanted to play with, or I wanted to figure out if I still liked, or I wanted to use up, a myriad of reasons. And so this is my weekly roundup. And I thought it would be fun because I was so impressed by one of the products. I wanted you to see it in action, that I would do more of a chatty get ready with me. So I hope that's okay. And if you're interested, stay tuned. All right, so I am actually fresh out of the shower, and I just put on my regular skincare. By the way, I was experimenting with nail polish colors, and I felt like doing something goldy, orangey, browny, mainly because I picked up this bad boy and I don't know, kind of inspired me a little bit. I don't know that I can talk about that palette because I only created one look with it this week. I really need to spend more time with it. But yes, it did cause this little warm tone inspiration. The product I want to talk about is the last foundation that I needed to try in my collection. Had completely forgotten I purchased this foundation, and what I'm talking about is the Daydream Cushion Perfect and Protect Broad Spectrum SPF 50 Sunscreen by Cosmetics. This is a cushion foundation. If you're unfamiliar with cushion foundations, they were very, very popular for many years, and then I don't know, they kind of fell by the wayside. I think it's still popular in, with Asian brands, but I have seen more of the Western brands go further and further away from cushion foundations. I remember I used to love a cushion foundation from Wet n Wild, and I don't think they make that anymore. So this one comes in this container. It's so pretty, very much like the Cosmetics brand. And it has a powder puff, which I really like. I'll talk to you about that in a sec. And then you just pop it open, and it has a saturated sponge that you just use that powder puff and you put it on. It also comes with an additional refill. And if you don't know, you should always, when you think it's dry, just take the sponge that's in there and pull it out and flip it over. And usually you can get another good week or so use out of the product. Let me go ahead and just put this on and we can talk about it. The shade I picked up was Gentle Light. So I just put it on this sponge. I really like using this sponge. I feel like it's not too big, and I love that it has a little point, because as I get closer to my eyes and my nose, it fits perfectly. It has a little bit of a sort of clean sunscreen smell, but I don't find that it irritates my skin at all. I do think the color is definitely a little more on the warm neutral side, but like slightly more warm. Okay, so I just put that on half of my face. I find that this provides an immense amount of coverage. I mean, look at the difference between this side and this side. I mean, I think this is a really solid medium coverage, and I found that to be very surprising. Another thing that's very surprising is just how kind of emollient yet thin yet non-greasy it feels like. It will settle in even more, and I find that its wear time is really incredible. Let me quickly do my other side and we'll talk a little bit more about it. So there you have it. I love this foundation. I also love the sponge that it comes with, because you could see it actually picks up the right amount of product. You put it on and it completely like comes off of the sponge. So the sponge doesn't get like really grody and cakey. Sometimes the sponges that are included in these cushion foundations, they can get really gross, and it's sort of like you don't want to keep using it, but you kind of have to because it's the sponge that's included. This one I can see would be so easy to clean. I would totally clean it at the end of the week and it would dry really well. It's just a different type of fabric. Feels almost like suede-like, and it just puts on just the right amount of product. So I hope you can see my skin. You know, it covered a lot of the redness, but I have some of my freckles popping through. It evened me out completely. I just love the way this feels. I love the way this looks in real life. I felt so confident the days that I wore this. So wow, just very, very impressive. Also very impressed that I didn't have a reaction to this, because the sunscreen in it is a combination of a ton of sunscreens. It has avobenzone, which normally I do not get along with, homosalate, octisalate, and titanium dioxide. So it does have quite a lot of different sunscreens, and yet for some reason the blend of it does not irritate my skin. I did not get any redness or anything. So yeah, I'm very, very impressed with this. I can't believe this was just sitting in the back of my drawer. Like, ugh, I'm mad at myself. Fenty was having a sale and I saw this palette here. So this is by Fenty. This is the Stalk'r palette. It's this here. Now, I completely forgot about this release. I forgot it even just happened. But when I saw it, and I saw it on sale, I realized I've always wanted to try the powder bronzer. I love the cream bronzer, but I've always wanted to try the powder bronzer, and I've always been confused as to which shade I should get. And so this has two of the shades I've always considered. It has In the Sun, In the Sun, and it also has Private Island. There's one in between, I can't remember the name right now. There's one in between these two that I think might work for me, but I'd always thought In the Sun was going to be my shade, but it is not. I'm going to start with In the Sun. So essentially you're getting 5 bronzers, which can be used for the eyes or the cheeks. So that's In the Sun, which is okay. It's definitely more cool tone, but I don't think it gives me what I want from a bronzer. So now I'm going to layer up Private Island, which is a lot warmer, and I feel like Private Island might be my color. It just feels a lot healthier looking. It's a really pretty shade. And I also had a lot of fun using the rest of this palette as eyeshadows. I did a whole look where I just used these darker shades, and these two toppers are so pretty. This is a really great travel palette. You can use this as a highlighter, but you can also use these just on the eyes as a topper. And I just really liked the colors, the shades, the ease of it all. It's very kind of vacation friendly. I also whipped out my Byterry Brightening CC Serum. This can also go right on top of that cushion foundation. It's this very thin formula, smells really intensely of roses, but it does have a very nice color. You see it's like kind of watery, has this warmth to it, and you could just tap it on. I understand I'm layering things the way I would never normally layer. I don't find that this disrupts my makeup. I just feel like it just adds even more glow. So I could just kind of take this and pat it into the skin, and it gives this definitely more warmth, but very pretty look. I do think this is one of the products from Byterry that when people talk about is like, oh, this is like one of the best products. And it is really nice. Though I have tried some of the other shades in this line, and I don't think any of them are that great. I think the only one that is worth it is the bronze one, and you'll see it did not disrupt that makeup whatsoever. It just added yet some more depth to it. I did feel like I wanted to brighten my under eye just tiny, so I'm still using that Pat McGrath concealer in L4. Very full coverage, and I'm not convinced it's the right concealer for me, but it does work, and the color does work well for me. It just brightened up my under eye ever so slightly, but it doesn't create like such a stark kind of brightening effect. I really only used one blush this week. I was kind of into like trying the formulas like I wasn't sure about. You know, I knew I had an unusual product, but I just wasn't sure about. This is from Juicy and Pang. It's a blusher that looks like it's a nail polish, but it is this very liquidy blusher. And I picked this up on Amazon a long time ago. I can't tell you what the shade is. I think it's like lychee shade number. It's not on the bottom of the packaging. This is shade 5. I think the brand is Apieu, A''P''I''E''U. And you saw how liquidy it was? And it just diffuses into the skin so beautifully. Look at that. It provides a natural finish, a natural glow, but nothing super shiny or vivid. This is such a beautiful blush, and it's effortless. It has just the right amount of pigment, lasts all day, but you cannot look foolish putting this on, at least not in this color. I find this color is just a perfect pink, and I love it. I love it. Goes along with that M Cosmetics foundation in that I use that. I use this blush. I use even that CC cream from Byterry, and all three of those products so liquidy, so like kind of blending one into the other, and I feel like it has made my skin look so youthful, like not heavy at all. Yes, I put in a little bit of that Pat McGrath concealer. That's sort of about the heaviest thing. But even going in with the powders from Fenty, they're just very light. They're not heavy. I'm gonna do my eyebrows next. The 24-hour brow setter by Benefit I've been loving, and actually what I do is I use this first. I just apply a thin coat, set my eyebrows, and then I'm gonna go in with a pencil. Still think this is the best gel for eyebrows. I love it. It's like thin enough but thick enough. It does its job, and I feel like it lasts forever. I use 2 brow pencil colors from the Precisely My Brow by Benefit. I use gray as well as the number 5. And that gives me sort of the most natural look of all, because I do have gray hairs, and I find like the combination of the two just gives me a lot of depth. I'm just putting on eye primer right now, my always on photo Intensify, so we can do an eye look. If you are new to my channel, you should just know this is my favorite eyeshadow primer for oily eyelids. I did a lot of different little eye looks this week. I'll insert some pictures. In the first one, I used one of the Danessa Myricks Color Fix matte in the shade Latte, which is this rosy color. This stuff is potent. It's potent and it doesn't budge. So I would recommend this product. I actually used this and I topped it off with Urban Decay's Moondust shadow in Space Cowboy, which is like everyone's favorite. It's everyone's favorite because it's so sparkly, it's so thin, and it has very little base, and so you could throw it on over everything. And I found like this was a really fun color combination, so I did that. And in my waterline, did the Colourpop cream gel liner in the shade Good Reef. This one here, this peach one. I didn't love this on me, so I'm actually going to declutter this color. I didn't like the shade on me at all, but these products I adored, and so I'm going to keep those. Also insert a picture of my first experience with the Smoking Hot palette, this one here by Colourpop, which I also enjoyed, but I think I'm going to be using this and another palette this week, and I'll kind of give my final thoughts on it. But I really love this color story, which is why I got it, because I usually don't go for the big shadow palettes from Colourpop, but that one just felt kind of like I needed it in my life. The one I'm going to be using right now is a mini palette from Natasha Denona. This is the mini Zendo palette. This is one of the few mini palettes of Natasha Denona's that I kept from my massive declutter. I also think this is one of the more unique stories. I was inspired to use this because I was waiting for the Colourpop Smoking Hot to arrive, and while I was waiting, I was like, let's see if I can't find a palette that kind of resembles what I think it's going to look like. So I'm just using this color here, which ends up being this sort of like dusty peach color, which is a really pretty transition shade. So I'm gonna go in a little bit with this peach color, which is like a burnt peach. By the way, when I am doing my eyes really quickly, I don't change brushes. I try my hardest to just work with the angles, not like fuss around too much, but that's just me. I mean, I don't like to make very complicated eyeshadow looks, so I do like the idea of these 5 pans, but I think ultimately some of the 5 pans, the reason I decluttered them was because I really do have a lot of those colors inside of the larger Natasha Denona palettes, and I don't travel enough to justify kind of keeping these. I'm going to use this darker shade here. Just in my outer corner. And that the Pat McGrath concealer does crease on me, so I feel like I do have to just set it a few times or just kind of pat it out a little bit. That is those 3 shades here. Now always the question is like, which one do you use? These 2. Just to show you, I'm actually going to use both. I'm going to use this sort of as an inner corner, and I'm going to use my fingers. And then I'm going to use this pewter shade, and I feel like this is where this palette's very unique. That she threw in this kind of very pewter color with such a warm tone makes it just an incredible color scheme for me, and the color is beautiful. I find it to be so sophisticated. All 5 shades applied to my eye, but I love that look that they create. I am right now using the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes Mascara, and not sure if you can see, but it works very well on my very straight downturn lashes. Emily Fox, who doesn't do YouTube beauty videos anymore, I remember she had one of the best mascara videos ever, where she tried on all of these mascaras and you could really see them, and she turned me on to, I believe, this mascara as well as the Urban Decay Perversion mascara, and they are really still 2 of my favorite formulas. So try a million mascaras that I might, I still love this one. I look at that length and volume and just the curl, like it's good. It's good stuff. I did not use a lot of lip products. I used a lot of just lip balms. So I've been going through the Laneige lip treatment. This is the one that's like pina colada. It's the night lip treatment, but I use it in the day. It's fine. I'm not a big Laneige lip person. I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but I'm just not. And so, yeah. I'm going to apply the Kind Words matte lip liner from Rare Beauty. This one here. It's not my favorite formula. I much prefer the Makeup Forever. I do like the color with the eye look. So yeah, just trying to formulate an opinion on that one, but I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. And I also just put on the Pamplemousse from About Face. It's a lot more pink. I don't know. I have also been trying out a lot of these liquid lip balms from Catrice. I have a ton of colors, a ton of colors, although they all kind of look like they're the same color. Let me pick one this one, I think, this is one that I used this week, Raspberry Cream. There's no raspberry in it, but it will take down some of that pink. Yeah, I like that better. So that is the Raspberry Cream. I am overdue on doing a swatch video of all these colors because color names don't match the descriptions online. They don't match your actual experience with them, and they're really good products, but I don't want someone to be upset that they pick up Raspberry Cream and it's this kind of like peachy brown nude thing. Yeah, like that's not good. So that is my week roundup. I know it was a little short, but I just felt like I put myself through the ringer previous 2 weeks, so I sort of needed something to bring myself back home. And I feel like creating a day-friendly routine for the summer, like an easy routine that makes me feel great and sort of flawless, which I feel like I feel a little flawless right now, is good for me to reacquaint myself with some of my makeup that way, because in truth, that is how I use makeup most often, especially if I have to leave the house super quick. I'm gonna do something like this, and that I can put together this type of look this quickly is a good thing. In fact, I would even skip the under eye concealer and only do one of the bronzers in truth. And yeah, and the eye makeup, it's pretty dramatic. I probably would have left it without any of the shimmers. If I was going for a day look, I would have just left it with the matte shadows and it would have been perfectly fine for me. So I hope that this inspired you to look for maybe a simplified routine for yourself. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, hitting the thumbs up and letting me know you like this content, or even just leaving comments down below and letting me know your thoughts on products. What do you really love during the summer for an easy breezy look? And what color stories are inspiring you? I feel like there's all these new releases of eyeshadows. I totally have my eye on the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. It will be mine, just not yet. So what is on your wish list? Because I would be curious to see that too. Anyhow, I hope everyone had a good start to the week and we will talk soon. Okay, take care everyone.